Hey YouTube, how you doing? Kevin here. Working on the Mojave 250. Today's the day we're going to yank the motor off. And then over the weekend we're going to take it down and see what we can see. So this is the one right here that had the hesitation and the timing chain issues, and they kept replacing timing chains and everything else, but they never did the guide or the slack adjuster, or it's all the way wound in. We're going to find out what the problem is with it anyway. But I got some tips and stuff like that for you. I got to pull this motor off, and there's a lot of pieces, you know, and of course when you go to put it back together, it's going to be like a jigsaw puzzle. Luckily I use my camera and take pictures. But here's another thing I do. As I'm taking the bike apart, I put the screws right back where they come. See? So when I go to put this back together, I'm like, shit, what screws go to that? I don't have to worry about it because I screwed them all back in. So this is gonna be just a quick little short video. So I'm doing I'm pulling this off, and you want to remove all the critical stuff, like I just took the radiator. I'm undoing the radiator right now. Just undid all the hoses. It was already drained prior to all this, removing the side cover and all that. So you just got to make sure it's all unplugged. The temperature sensor, which the owner said needs to be replaced. Get all that out of there. See if I can pull this out without issue. You'll be very careful with these radiators because you don't want to whack them on the frame and hit other things, and there's all kinds of stuff that holds them in. You know, sometimes even rust can hold them in. Like this one's got a tube. This tube's gonna be pulled out over here. This is the overflow tube going to the overflow, so we got to take that off without damaging anything, which has been on there for so long. Makes it kind of difficult to take off. I'm actually taking off this overflow tube right here. Sorry, I'm holding the camera and doing this at the same time. There we go. With that clamp back. Sometimes you can twist them and they lock in there, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I finally got the hose off. That was on there. Alright, and then what I like to do is put the radiator cap back on. I don't like losing stuff. Nothing makes me more mad. I'm trying to lose something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the the hose clamps back on after I get done taking this all out. If I can find out what's holding it in now. Looks like it's into a rubber mount. So I'm going to have to pick that up and pull it out. See if I can set you down here for a second. Such a way that you can see kind of see if I can get this out. It's stuck on the rubber mount. It pulls right straight up and out. Alright, so now we got the radiator out, and the next step would be to take the screws that come out of it and screw them back into the frame, so we don't have to worry about where they are. That's the nice thing about doing these. And the screws down bottom that I took out, I didn't have to take out. Those are for the cooling fan. These are the cooling fan screws I took out thinking they went through the metal. Oh, that's alright. Those things happen. So it looks like I have all the cooling fan screws. So I need to order a cooling fan for that. And put all this stuff back together. I got the two clamps right here. It's getting swarmed over here with bugs. Alright, so we got that all done. And then next would be the exhaust. Now these aren't nuts. These are no, they're nuts on the cap screw, on the studs. So we're gonna hit those real quick with some penetrating oil. At this point I really don't care if they snap, because I can what do you call it? Yeah, I'm taking the motor out so I can easily extract them. But if I wasn't, then I would be worried about it. So we're just going to take our time with those, see if we can get those out. I'm going to put you down for a second, change sockets. Alright, let's see if they come out. Now on these ones right here, because they're exhaust, I just go kind of like gentle pressure. Just kind of tap it down, kind of work it back and forth. If they get tight, then I'll go backwards in the opposite direction. But these ones look like they're going to come right out. Actually, I'm taking the whole stud with this one. Ha! Even better. So then when I have it on the bench, I can clean the whole thing up. So that should count pretty well. I alternate. I use PB Blaster with the catalyst, and sometimes I use the gunk. I'm using gunk today, liquid wrench. Really good stuff, good product. I've used both of them, and I've been equally impressed with both companies. Or if they're the same, well, then they're doing something right. But I don't know. Yeah, see, that whole stud came right out. Look at that, huh? Put that at the top of the tire, and let's see if we have the same luck with the back one. I'm just going by feel. I already sprayed it. Yep. Oh yeah, look at that. That's coming right out. Beautiful. Almost as if it's been out before. What makes me nervous when you take it, when you see something like that that's rusted to shit and one already broke off. The nice thing about doing this is it gives me an opportunity to put this on the bench and extract it. I already loosened up that back one prior to the video. The screws up top were loose. Not loose, but rusted. The stud came out on this one too, which is good. So, all right. Looks like we're gonna have to wiggle that muffler off to get that part done, but that's okay. I'm gonna pause you for a second. All right. I removed the two muffler suits that were on there. The whole exhaust is gonna come out and down. And then I use my little trusty little impact gun, snap-on little gun. That thing comes in handy. And then we're just gonna kind of get this out of the way. We'll pull it all apart. It's not gonna come apart because of the rust that's involved, but I should be able to get the motor past it, at least enough to whatchamacallit there. I don't care about the shit getting in there either, because like I said, we're doing a rebuild. Not 100% rebuild, but we're going to be cleaning up and going to where we need to go. So I think once I get that motor mount out, I can loosen it up and get it to where I need to go. So that all helps. Also too, the top upper bracket on the Mojave, it loops over the frame, and this is the mount right here to it. So what I did was I just put it all back together the way it was. That's the fuel tank mount. Just goes over the frame this way. So I can pull that apart and get that out. So you have the one mount there. That's one motor mount. You have your main swing arm, which is a pain in the ass, but you can do it. It goes right clear through the block. That's the bottom one. And then your other mounts are in the front here. You have the triangle mount, and then the one down bottom there. And then this motor's out. You're going to have to pull your ignition wire, your what do you call it there? Some of the other stuff, but not too bad to do. Get the what do you call it, clutch cable out. Then once I get the motor off, I'm going to lube all the cables, see what's salvageable, what's not. You got your fuel line, your throttle cable. You're going to want to undo your carburetor, get that off there, which we're going to take the carburetor off and clean that while it's apart, and see what else we can do on this thing while it's apart and being done. So we are not going to do the big bore kit to this one. We're going to leave this one factory bore, if depending upon how it looks. If I have to rebore it, like if the cylinder is junk when we get the head off, we're going to do the big bore kit. If not, then I'm not going to bore it. I'm just going to replace the cylinder. So this side, same thing. You know, you get your reservoir right there, take that off, and that comes off when you take off your the triangle mount. And like I said, always just put your bolts back where they came from. We're gonna have to replace the Kawasaki chain guard. This thing's all smashed up, and I already loosened up the chain when I loosened up the back there, so that's an easy peasy lemon squeezy thing to do. And then really after that, just the electrical, which is these two wires right here going to your pickup and your alternator, and they plug right into your CDI box. So the plugs are right here for that. And then once we get them done, this motor's out. I'm gonna get some help lifting it out, and we're going to get that out. So I'm gonna do the mount, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I got the motor mount off. I put all the bolts back into it. Right here, I just put it all back to the way it came off the machine, and then I got the other bolt right here with it. And I put the strap on it. I'm sorry about that. I had to face it at the grass. I'm an idiot. So I had to basically put it all back together the way it came off the machine. And for that right there, I did the bottom mount, which is standalone, right there. Then I did the triangle mount that goes right here. The exhaust is off. The throttle cable is disconnected. I got to do a 10mm wrench and then loosen up that. Disconnected the coil wire, which is missing the tip. It's missing the tip, so I got the what do you call it, 10mm here. The cable's off. Then the carburetor will come off, and then we can do that for the cleaning. There's a little rubber mount up under here for the vent, the crankcase vent, and the motor's already loose. The motor's already wiggly. So, which will make it easy to get the exhaust off when it's wiggly. And then we got to do the chain and the electrical, and then this thing's out. So that's pretty much it in this the clutch cable. Once we get that stuff all freed up, this motor right here will be off the machine. Then I got to pull the motor off of the TRX 250, get that one done. That I don't think is going to come off as nice as this one because it's been sitting for a whole world longer. However, it is what it is. It's got to roll with the punches, and you can see the soot in there. We're going to clean this thing up really. So we'll get that all cleaned up and get that moved out, and that'll work. That'll work. So just be patient with the stuff when you're taking them apart. Put the screws back in, like that piece of plastic right there. I'll put the screws back in the motor, but the plastic, the shield, I have to replace. And knowing I have to replace it, I'm going to go ahead and simply order the parts that I need to replace for that. So I've got to remove the chain, this little strap right here for the clutch. I mean, not the clutch, the electrical, sorry. And got a screwdriver, see if I can pop that off. And just be gentle with the stuff, because the less you break, the less you have to replace. And if you don't have to take it all the way off, don't. It makes it easier to put it back together. So like, I'm not going to pop this strap all the way off. I just want to expand it. I just want to expand the strap enough to pull the electricals. I see I already pulled it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off, but when I get my electrical out, I'm going to put it back. Do you know what I mean? So, let's see if I can undo this module. Now here's one wire right here. And these are simple to do. You just push in the little tab. Like so. I'm going to need two hands for this because I have to pull it apart. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I removed the two screws that took off the broken Kawasaki shield, which we'll have to get. And I'm looking at the sprocket. Look how hammered this sprocket is. I mean, absolutely junk. These are ready to snap. So I put the screws back in. There's a guard here at the bottom, so you want to screw that back in. I disconnected both of my electrical from this side. And there's also a clip that holds a wire in. I don't know if you can see the wiring being held in. It runs right around the back side here. Right there. And it's held in up top. There's another two plugs right there. And it goes for the, this is for your neutral safety light, I believe. Because it's got the green wire and the red. So I'm going to see if I can unplug those. And get those, make sure that's what they're for. And then I have this cable right here coming up underneath as well. This is my reverse cable, which runs into there. So I'm going to disconnect this reverse cable from up top on the handlebars. And because it's a whole lot easier up there than to do it from underneath here. So that's probably my one wire is going to be my neutral safety light. And then the other wire, the red one, is going to be my reverse light, I believe, or vice versa, or something like that. They're for the indicators anyway. And then the carburetor, and then this motor is rocking out. So, and then that's pretty much it for that. So, okay, the next step would be to go get the 10mm and take the carburetor off, or carburetor, depends on what kind of person you are. And I'm not even gonna take the carburetor fully off. I'm just gonna take it, put it on top up here, set it on top of the frame for now, because I want to get the motor out. I gotta pressure wash this whole entire machine, and we got to figure out the cable situation. Yep, it's right here, this cable goes right here. It might just be better to take this whole mechanism right off because there's no electrical to it. It's held in with a couple screws, and then fish it down through, undo the guard here. You can undo one of the screws and take that one out right there completely, then loosen up that one. This whole piece will move right out of the way, and then you can pull right through. So, and then that's it for that. So anyway, yep, so that's where I'm at with this. Let's be right back. I'm gonna grab a couple tools and get back at it. Okay, so now we're back at this side. I got a lot of bugs around me here, flying, swarming. Okay, so first things first, let's get the carburetor. I loosened up the bolt already, so we can just try to fish that out. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but this is a lot of dirt on it, which is why we're gonna clean it when it's done. Okay, throttle cable's off. I'm gonna take the throttle cable, flip it up top, and stick it in between the wiring. Okay, so that's gonna take care of that. Then I'm gonna take a Phillips screwdriver, pop it down under here. Now this motor right here, I want you to note, the motor is already tipped forward a little bit, so it's already come free from its boot. If it wasn't, then I'd have to remove the air filter assembly to get the carburetor out. The carburetor should just twist right out on this one in particular, because it's already loose. So once that's all done, we get that down. We just tip the motor forward and it'll fall out like that. And then you have your choke right here, which screws in as well. So for that one, you're going to use the 12mm head and loosen it right up, and what do you call it? Take it right out. So I'm going to put you on pause so I can get that, because I need two hands. Alright, we have a situation here. The choke is actually stuck in there, seized right up in there. That's why I came off the end up there, needing a choke cable. So I'm probably going to have to just cut that cable to get that out. Considering I have to replace it anyway, it really doesn't matter. So, but the carburetor's out in essence. So we get that part done. And then the other part was up on the handlebars. We're going to try to get that cable out for the reverse. Let's see what that's going to be like. Oh, they're not bad. Not bad at all. I didn't do these ones, but I did loosen up the other ones already. Just for the fact of I had to use my impact driver on those big number 4 screws. Very important to use that if you need to, because it's a good tool to have in your arsenal, that's for sure. Alright, so let's pop this off if we can. See if these screws are loose and they'll pop out. Yes, they will. So at that point, we're going to just screw them right back into the frame. Oop, just dropped that one on the ground, but at least I know where it is. This one's in there nice and tight. See if I can pull that out. Yep, can. Good. If I can get these in, I'd rather put them back in the frame. That way I know where they go, and I try to get them in as many turns as I can. It's easier to unscrew them than lose them. That's my motto right there, like that. Right, it's better to unscrew them than to lose them. So that's a big helpful tip right there. Pull that through here. Now I'm going to show you the trick on this one. You know, all this wiring, some of the stuff is through the loop. It's going to be a kind of a tight fitting. So we're going to take this screw all the way out, if we can. Drop that one too. I'm good like that. I'm all fingers today because I'm doing this one-handed. Okay, so I'm going to pull that back like that, and I'm going to pull this out. So when I go to pull this out, it's not going to want to come all the way out because of all the crap that's involved here. So I'm going to sneak it through that loop and then drop it down through. So I pull up as much slack as I can, pull this out, get the cable on the opposite side of that little ear, on the big end. It's really just a massage thing, and then you can pull it all the way out through. And voila, the reverse It's easier to do it this way than to pull it out from the thing here. And then I'm going to see if I can find where that screw went. Yeah, right here. And then I'm not going to screw that piece back onto it. Well, actually, I'm going to have to because I already got the other one off. So the other one came off fully. So I'm going to put those 2 screws back in the frame. Sometimes if they're long enough, you don't have to do this. But in my case, I'm going to have to. And I just dropped another screw. So I will have to figure out where that one went. I think that landed on the frame. Well, I will get that one in a little bit. Now that I got that all situated, the reverse cable, I'm going to show you guys how to take care of a reverse cable so it's safe, because you don't want this thing dangling. You're going to step on it when you're pulling out the motor, you're going to rip it out, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Then that's one more part you have to replace. This one works good, so I want to keep it. Voila, I coil it, fold it over, and just tuck it up inside there. And then what I'll do is I'm going to use a strap, like a zip tie, and zip tie it to the cam tensioner. And then that right there will take care of that whole mess, and I won't have to worry about that. So as of right now, the engine is completely free, except for the cable on the other side, which I have to take out. But I'm going to take off the carburetor first, because I'd rather replace a choke cable that needs to be replaced anyway, than have a smashed in carburetor because I landed a motor on it. So that's the next step, is to take off the all the mounts to the cable for the clutch. So your clutch cable comes down through here. It's looped onto where your what do you call it there, ignition coil is, which you should remove that anyway. So we're going to take that off, and then it's held on with a mount down bottom here. It looks like an 8mm, and then the rest of the clutch is freed up. So if we can get that, oh, actually we can just bend it like that and we'll slide out this way. We can cheat, don't even have to take a screw out. So got that done like that. We're going to take that 10mm out right there for clearance purposes. Remember clearance? Yeah, he's got a purpose to give us room. So we're going to take that off right there. It's my good old trusty snap-on ratchet, which I absolutely friggin' hate. I have a Craftsman that works a whole shit ton better than this stupid ass that's been repaired multiple times. And every time it's been repaired, it lasts about 4 months. I don't know what the hell they're doing over at Snap-on, but it's just been a really bad, and I don't normally have, it's just, let me say it's not a bad product, it's just this particular ratchet. I think there's something wrong with the casting of it, to be honest with you, because it's the only ratchet I have that does that. And I have a lot of Snap-on ratchets, and they've all been absolutely awesome, except that one. So I think from all the business I've given them, I have bitching rights on that one particular ratchet. So, but it's been repaired a lot. They won't replace it. It's a lifetime warranty on the parts, not on the ratchet. Piss poor warranty. Is what it is, right? What are you gonna do about it? Okay, so now we got that all done. We're gonna fish the carburetor up through, and I'll cut that cord after this motor is out. So I'm gonna try snaking out the exhaust. Once I get the exhaust snaked out, we will be in pretty good shape. Then I'm gonna blow off the inside of the motor because I got rust and shit on top of the gears, but that's all gonna be cleaned out anyway. So I'm gonna pause you for a second. And voila, lifted the engine right clear off the frame. So there she is off this frame. I will get some simple green, clean it up. Engine's actually very light. I was very impressed. I thought it was going to be heavy as a bastard, but turns out it's not. So I got some residual oil. That's why I got the hammer right there, so it keeps it tipped back. And I'll put that into a nice drain bucket and drain it. Gonna clean up that whole entire engine, give it a quick bath before it goes into be repaired. So it's gonna get a few cleanings first, and I'm gonna use a fuel and a cleaner and all that to clean that thing up. It's gonna be a little bit of a process, but nothing too dramatic, nothing I can't handle. I'm a big boy. I'll put the axle shaft back into it and get that so I can move this buggy around, go put it out back with the other one, and then tomorrow I'll pull off the other motor and do the video on that. So this is all going to be pressure washed. The exhaust is going to have to be separated. If I can even get that out. Kind of a awkward situation with the exhaust, because I can't take the pipe out and it can't come out the way it's supposed to come out, so it's going to have to come out to the back. Here we go. I got the exhaust off. That's going to be all cleaned up, and I'm going to use grill paint on that. Paint that nice. It's going to be cleaned up and painted nice and gray. I'm going to be doing some electrolysis too. Another video I'm going to be doing on how to make electrolysis. So, yep, this is it. The Mojave 250 yanked out, and what I'll start doing is I'll start going through and getting a parts list of parts I need to purchase for this here project. And this is sweet. This is gonna be a nice little buggy. Definitely nice. It's gonna be washed up. It's gonna be all prettied up. I might get some gray paint and go over like those little rust spots, you know, and doll it up, make it look nice. Like this right here used to be black, so I might clean those up and paint them black and just go right through them. Here's the filter box. Replace that chain. The chain sprockets are shot, man. They are gone. Really bad. So, but as always, thank you for watching. And that's how you pull the motor off of a Mojave 250. Engine's off. So I gotta throw the carburetor in the ultrasonic cleaner. I might do a video on that. Who knows? I already did one before on how to clean carbs, but it's a Mojave. So while this thing's all apart, we can work on the brakes, work on stuff like that. We'll be doing all kinds of cool things to this thing. So clean it up, make it look pretty, make it doll it up, and we'll go from there. So this is the Mojave 250. That's the motor right there, sitting on the ground. We're gonna clean it before we touch it. And then we're going to pressure wash that entire frame, make this thing all look nice. We're going to move it out back, and this will not be running before winter. This is my winter project. I'll be doing, I have a spare room where I'll be doing a lot of engine work on benches. So I'm just prepping up for some winter videos and some good cool projects. So we got at this time of year, that's what I do. So the next one we're going to pull off motor wise, I'm going to teach you guys how to do disc brakes on like how to bleed brakes on that right there. So that's another upcoming video that's going to be relatively soon. I got projects, man. I got projects. And then the next motor to come off is going to be this one right here, the 250, which you already know about if you watch my videos. I already got one on that TRX. So we're going to be doing that motor right there, which smokes like a son of a gun. We're going to do we're going to hone the cylinder. So what we're going to do is we're going to hone the cylinder on that one. We're going to replace the piston rings on that one. We're going to do the what do you call it there, valve seals and head gasket on that TRX. That thing runs really good, and we're going to clean the carburetor one more time because it is something just not quite right with it. And then this one right here, he says he has to clean the carburetor every year. You shouldn't have to clean the carburetor every year. So we're going to find out what's going on with that. And judging by the fact that the choke is actually seized into it, I think it's a corrosion situation, corrosion problem. So, as always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, by all means, send them my way. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is really cool to be able to do these videos, and it's an honor for me. And I hope you guys learn something. I hope you guys see something that, you know, brings up a question for you guys. By all means, send them my way. I have no problem answering questions and helping out. And if we all work together, we can make this a better place. You know what I mean? So, thank you for watching.